What's going on YouTube? It's your man Lamont and I'm back with another tutorial. Today we're going to be doing a blurry drop fade with the design and curl sponge styling. Y'all stay tuned.
No, they don't do it like this no more.
Legacy, legacy, legacy.
You know it's all about the
Legacy, legacy, legacy.
Our children start without the
Legacy, legacy, legacy.
Get on your job and start a
Legacy, legacy, legacy.
You can't fall without the
Legacy, legacy, legacy.
You know it's all about the
Legacy, legacy, legacy.
Our children start without the
Legacy, legacy, legacy.
Get on your job and start a
Legacy, legacy, legacy.
You can't fall without the
Jumping right on in, we're going to go ahead and brush the hair, make sure all the hairs are laying down, and punch in our first quadruple zero guideline. Now, I like to make sure that I'm meticulous with this step because it is the most important part of the haircut besides the lineup. And I like to make sure that it looks the same on both sides. And you know, this is something that you want to do consistently. And so of course I make sure that both sides are matching. And then I punch in my second guideline, which is a 0.5, basically no guard with the lever open. Right here, of course, I'm doing what I always do. I start half in the lever and then I work my way down. Just making sure that the whole guideline is consistently one length. Then I close my lever all the way at the bottom and I knock out that last line. Now, the next step coming up is the 1.5 guard, and I go with the grain to debulk. It kind of helps blend later on in the fade. And so what I do is just debulk that area, making sure that I'm going with the direction flow of the hair. After I set that in, then I go against the grain in that same guideline and I start to even it out using my corners so that I don't push it up into the top of that guideline. Continuing to brush and comb, you want to make sure that it's consistent. Right there was the parietal ridge, and I want to make sure that I put my 1.5 guard open up there, and I do the same thing. I debulk with the grain going in the direction of the hair flow, keeping it consistent and making sure that I knock out any bulk lines. Now after that, I walk it down. I put my one guard back on and I lever play and I go with the grain, then against the grain within that guideline to even it out. Now, as you see, I'm using my corners and I'm at this point with my 0.5 guard, which is the blending guard. And I'm starting to attack that fade at the lower to middle part of the fade using my corners and brushing to make sure that the blend is coming together sufficiently. Now, this isn't just as cut and dry as most videos. You have to learn how to go against the grain and with the grain accordingly based on what you're trying to do. It's going to help, especially with this hair texture. Now on this side, I've already punched in my initial guideline and blended it softly into the 1.5. And then I grab my recharges and I'm punching in my initial guideline. Now, this is a freestyle. I know I wanted to do something sharp, something elegant, nothing too much. And so I'm just making sure that I'm brushing consistently because you want to make sure that you're getting all the hair that's hanging over. And this happens normally with a very curly texture. It's very important that you continue to brush. Now right here, I'm blending around the design and I'm stepping back and I'm kind of looking at it while combing to see how I want it to contrast. All right, guys, at this point, obviously I'm brushing and I'm making sure the hair lays down so I can come back and follow up with my recharges and take off anything that's stepping over the line. Speaking of the recharges, these are my go-to for details and designs like this. They come with a rechargeable battery. These things hit. I like to use spritz and blow dry just enough to where it has enough glide but not totally dry. That allows me to lock the hairs down while doing the razor detailing. And as you can see, it's coming together pretty clean already. This is just a preliminary. I'm getting it about 80% locked in because I'm going to be enhancing this a little bit later for you guys. moving on to the lineup. Now I like to use a spritz with my ST blow dry on high for about 10 seconds. Starting in the middle, I work my way to the left, and then I visualize the right side, stepping back and kind of symmetrically balancing the corner as I work my way to the right. Now this is a process. You have to step back until that lineup is together, and that causes other things to pop out on the fade. So right here, I'm addressing those issues by debulking so that the haircut will come together. It's a critical part of my steps and my haircut is that lineup. It does help me bring the fade all the way together. And so this is when I do most of my touch-up work, but I do touch up twice here after the lineup and also at the end. Now I'm using my hydro steamer on top to loosen up the hair and give it some moisture and heat up the hair to allow it to be more pliable. And I'm following up with some aloe vera detangler so that I can pick the hair out. For these type of styles, I generally make sure that I pick them out because it's going to affect the shape if I don't, and it's going to show me holes or areas that need to be debulked. Like for instance, this area right here, as you can see, it sticks out, so I grab my 3-guard and go with the grain to blend that bulk smoothly into the fade. And now that I have that debulked, I see that there's a little bit of a dark area in the middle of the blend, so I'm just bringing it together and doing some touch-ups. Quick pro tip, use your barber pencil on your glove and dab your trimmer blade in it, and it allows you to put a straight line right there on the silhouette of the lineup, which, you know, while we use the pencil, we use it to add contrast to the lineup so that lineup pops. And as you can see, I'm using my semi-permanent dye here and it's looking real sharp. Now, if you don't have a detail brush, I suggest you get one like this one. And if you're doing designs, you use this to go ahead and sharpen up your design. I'm using the dark dye in the places that I would like to sharpen and also bring contrast to this design. I like to follow my detail work. After I have my design set in, I use my recharges to go ahead and cut off any hair that's sticking over the line. Speaking of which, these recharges make it easy for me to do designs and details like these. If you're interested in seeing how well they perform beyond today's tutorial, check out my full review in the end card. And if you're considering the recharge for yourself, use my code LEGACY10 at checkout for a 10% discount. Not only would you get a reliable tool for a precise finish, but also using the code helps to support the channel, which I truly appreciate. Just being thorough using this placement card to finalize the enhancements. Now right here, I'm using my Barber pencil. It is a tan Barber pencil from Royal Black. I love it because it has more of an ashy tone to it. And, you know, of course it's tan, but it's a more natural tan than most Barber pencils out there on the market. So I highly suggest it. I rarely use white pencils and I see barbers use it all the time. I think it doesn't work for brown skin tones. White, in my opinion, is more for light complexions. Now, as you can see, I'm taking my time here just to be detailed. And as you can see, it's really making that design stand out. And I like to follow up with my razor just to soften the color. When using a razor, you want to ensure that you're stretching the skin. That's what I'm doing with my thumb, just above. It'll help it to glide smoother and be more safe for your clients. Now that's done, we're going to go ahead and do our curl sponge styling. Now when curl sponging, you want to add some moisture to the hair, then use the rugged side to partition and divide up the individual curls. That's what that side is for. And if you feel like you need some volume, use your fingertips to divide the curls out manually, and then use the other side, the flat side of the curl sponge, to define the curl pattern. And then of course, anything that is sticking over that side, I'm freehanding all of the hair off. It's just being thorough, and it just makes a cleaner look in the end. Finalizing with some enhancements just to bring it all together. I'm using a fiber enhancement here to give some texture where it is shining. You have to use layering when you're doing fibers, guys. So you want to use some more fiber hold spray on top of that and blow dry it for 10 to 15 seconds to set in that fiber. After using fibers, you want to make sure that you use your trimmer to knock off any residual fibers and also sharpen up that line. Here's a pro tip: use sheen spray to blend that barber pencil down so that it's not as obvious, but it's still doing its job, creating contrast. All right, I'm finalizing the fade with my foil shaver only working in the temple area. And of course, we're gonna finalize the top with some sheen spray and just a little bit more detail. Getting ready for the final look. All right, so he's checking out his haircut and we got the nod of approval. That's what it's all about, folks. Check out that design, very, very sharp. And we took him from this to this. A blurry drop fade with curl sponge styling on top with a clean, sharp design. Thanks for tuning in and watching this full tutorial. And don't forget to tap the video right here to check out the full review of the recharge. If you have any questions or if there's anything that I missed, drop them in the comment section and I'll get back to you ASAP. I hope you enjoyed the video. Until next time, stay sharp. Legacy out.